All right, the time has come for us to build a one-page website, not a landing page, not to be confused because the two are different. So we are going to take our sweet time. It's going to be a long video, and I will be using or kind of like reusing components that I have built in other videos on this channel, and I will probably most likely speed through those parts of the video. So in order for people who have never watched my videos to know what I'm doing, I will create a separate playlist specifically for this video with those videos where I'm building these components. I know it's going to be complicated for you to go back and forth, but trust me, you can just pause this video that basically you're watching right now and build the component that you need from the video that I am referencing, and then move on to the next steps in building this website. So let's set the mood and let's get started. All right, what I like to do first thing before anything is basically set up the basic stuff. Did I just say basic twice? Anyway, so I will set my global styles, like colors. Fonts depends. If I have complex fonts, the fonts that I have to import because they're not on Google, then I would import those. But since we are using Google fonts, I would not do that. So let's get into it. Let's first of all go to our site settings. Let's go to global colors. And you will see that I already have a lot of colors on this website. I'm working on the test website and I already have them, but I can explain to you how this is done in case you don't know. And as you see, I have the style guide preview. Basically, you can have a preview, I call them swatches of the colors that you have set as global colors. So if I turn this off, you will not see those colors. And to be honest, I prefer to see them. As you can see them here, but they are not that visible and they don't give you that idea of how the colors would look. So I'm turning this on. I have the system colors like they are. Although, to be honest, I would want to change the primary and the accent because they're so horrible, but never mind. All right. So the colors that we are using for the website are basically off-white, light sand, studio, dark gray, just in case I need it, but not really, medium sand, dark sand, light gray, which again, probably I will not be using it. The light and dark gray probably will not be used, but it's good to have them there. And then pure black. The names, I gave them the names. Obviously black is black, but the names have been given by me. So how you do it, you just go and add a color, and either you add the code of the color here or just choose a color, let's say this, and then go and name your color. Super red. Make sure that this is something that you can find easily or understand what it is. Or if you're building a website for a client, the client will know what it is. All right, and then just save your settings and that's it. And just add everything that you need, and it will be so much easier when you need to use the colors in your project. You don't have to copy paste them either from Figma or somewhere else where you have the colors. So for our page color, I'm going to go to page settings and I'm going to go to style and choose my background. Right now the background is this. I have no idea what color this is, but I'm gonna go and switch it to light sand. And this is going to be our base color. This is the color that brings and ties everything together. And you will see this color sprinkled here and there on the website, just like accent elements, and pretty much that's it. All right. I'm going to publish this. I like to publish my changes every time I have something added, just in case Elementor crashes, because that happened a few times and it was not pretty. All right, so now we can start building our website. Normally, I would start with our header, but I'm not gonna do that just yet. I will start building the hero section. All right, so let's add a container here, and I am going to have my container, just a basic container. I will set this, let me just bring in the structure, and I will set this to full width and make sure that is a minimum height of 60 VH. And I am going to add 2 more containers in here. Let's make sure that the structure is set to direction horizontal, because we want the containers to sit next to each other. Actually, we will have 3 containers, but you will see. All right, let's add the first container. I am going to simply duplicate this container. I will just duplicate this container. And as you can see, we have 2 containers sitting one next to each other. Let me just remove my gap here between the elements. We don't want a gap. This is pretty annoying. I wish Elementor somehow made these container borders a more or a darker color, because for example, unless you click on this corner where the container image is, or element, icon, whatever, you do not see the borders of the container. You don't know what's happening. It's so weird, especially if you have a lighter color background. Maybe it's just me. All right, so in the first container, we're going to be setting the direction of the elements to be vertical, basically on top of each other, or one after each other. One after the other. And we're gonna start with the heading. So our heading, let's add a button, and let's bring everything at the center. And we will play with this a little bit if we need to adjust in a later stage, but for now let's just style our heading. So let's start with the heading. I'm gonna go to styles. Obviously I'm gonna change the color to black, and I'm going to go to typography and type in my font. So I'm using Archivo, and obviously I am using REMs, and I actually converted the REMs to clamp because it's more fluid, and I've talked about this in another video, but if you need the tool, I will link it down in the description below if you want to test it yourself. And I will also link a YouTube video from Imran from Web Squadron, where he is explaining the clamp process, because honestly I don't want to explain it as well. Basically what I do, I know it's a little bit counterproductive, but what I do is test the size of the font, because in REMs, because first of all, depending on your font, because not all fonts are made equal. And that means that if you use, for example, a size of, let's say, this size, yeah, for this font, and whatever you want to call it, for example, my title will be this, yeah, it will look differently with another font. So that's what I mean. A bigger font, a different font would maybe be bigger, but look smaller, although you're using the same unit, if it makes any sense. So what I do is play around with the units first and then use clamp. So what I will do, for example, on desktop size, for example, is 5 REM. Then on tablet, I will reduce the size. Obviously it's not going to look this way, but let's say I'm going to go down to 3.5. yeah, okay, looks good. And then on mobile portrait, I'm going to go even lower, and I'm going to go all the way to, let's say, maybe 1.7. But this is very subjective. So if I'm happy with these units, the highest to the smallest, basically, these are the important units. So you take the smallest unit and the highest unit, and you input them in clamp. Let me show you how to do that. So we have clamp here, and this is how it looks, okay? So these are the sizes of viewport that I'm using. Max is 1200, minimum is 500. And then, for example, in our case, we said, I think it was what, 4, I don't remember, anyway, and let's say 0.9. okay, so as you can see, our font clamp has been generated, and you can just copy it from here and you're good to go. This is up to you. If you just want to go straight into clamp and you're happy on how the fonts will look at different sizes, then by all means do it, but this is my process. All right, so that is what I do. Okay, so right now I know what size I want this font to be, but I want to give some padding on this container, so I'm gonna say 130, and we have this a little bit on the side, and look, it looks okay, but let's input our clamp. Already prepared it, so this is what I'm working with, and it's going to be 300 light, which looks much better. It does, right? Okay, for sure we will have to bring the text down a little bit because our navbar will be somewhere around here, and obviously we need some space, some white space in between the navbar and this text heading. All right, let's go and style our button, and I'm going to use the Studio Orange. This is the color that I am using. Let's say get in touch. This is going to be our text. Let's go typography. Cool. And for the button, we are going to go to 500 to 600 semi-bold weight. Let's switch to REM. Obviously, of course, this can be also changed to clamp, which I actually suggest. All right, let's set this button to align start. Very nice. All right. Let's go back to style, and we need to change the text of the color of the text, and I am going to use off-white. Not really white, not really not white, is somewhere in between. So I'm gonna set the border radius to 50, and I am sure I am going to set the top and bottom padding to 20 pixels, and right and left is going to be 50 and 50, and we have a strong button right now. All right, so what I like to do, okay, let's finish designing this button. Okay, let's say on hover is going to be black, the background color is going to be off-white. This is how it's going to look. Very nice, right? What I wanted to say is, whenever I use CTAs and I know that I will be using the same one on the same page, what I do is basically click right on the button, go all the way to save as global, and save your button as a global widget. So I'm gonna call it CTA, and I'm gonna say get in touch. You have to name it something that you know, that you will remember, or your client will know where to find it or how to find it, obviously, and just save and wait for Elementor to save it for you 5 hours later. All right, as you can see, I have two buttons here. This is the previous button that I saved, and then this another one. Anyway, so now that we have this part of the website built, yeah, this is going to be a long video. Let's publish and let's have a quick look. Let's see what we've done so far, right? Let's see how our clamp behaves. That's very interesting to see. I like that. All right. So now it's loading. Okay, don't judge it by this. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, because the page doesn't have much on it, it looks kind of weird, but otherwise I think it's really cool. Let's go back to our page and let's add our next elements. So let's set this as well, column vertical, and what I will add in here is something that I have built, I think 2 videos ago. So I will add that video to the playlist. That is going to be the first video that you see. So as you can see, I have this video that basically whenever you hover over it, it kind of like grows and shrinks as you basically enter and leave the page, the area where the video is. And it's pretty cool. It adds an interesting touch to it, to this section. Let's justify the elements in this container at the end. So we have the video here on this side. You will see in that video that I linked, you will see how this is built, how everything is built, and it's not really that difficult. One thing we have to do is basically work a little bit on this arrow, because for some reason every time somehow things kind of like get changed. All right, anyway, it's looking pretty okay. I know it looks a little bit weird and deserted here but have patience, we're gonna add more elements. Okay, so let's add a text editor in the same container. And why is it going there? Why is it doing this? All right, let's bring it down here. So I'm going to set this text editor to be a width of 60%, and obviously let's style it a little bit to black. I'm going to look for Archivo again, and obviously we're gonna add the clamp here. That's very important. So let's add it right now. Okay, and what I want is to have an uppercase, so all letters are uppercase. It looks modern, elegant, different, and it has something in my opinion. All right, so there's something else that I want to do is align this self-center basically, and it's pretty cool, right? All right, so I'm going to add my content in here. It's going to make more sense this way. Okay, so one thing that I forgot to do, and it happens sometimes, to set the content width of these two containers to full width. This one and this one. Basically the containers under the main container, so they're full width. And obviously set this one to 50 and this one to 60. Oops. All right, let's see how it's looking. And there's a reason for this, because we are going to be adding another container. So what I'm going to do is simply duplicate this container, and yes, it looks weird. I'm gonna delete everything. This is something that I do as well whenever I'm kind of like not lazy, but I want to speed up things. I just do that. So I'm gonna set the color first so we can see the background color. I'm gonna set it to, where is it? Medium sand, as well as our full width is going to be 35 pixels, because we want this container to just sit at this size no matter what happens on the page. And let's also change some things in terms of design. I'm going to go to Style, Border Radius, and set the top border radius to 12 and the left border radius to 12 as well. And as you can see, this basically rounded the corners of our container. Okay, so let's see. We have to set the height as well. And the height is going to be, I think, 60 if I remember correctly. And yes, I'm correct. Okay, I know it's looking a little bit kind of meh. I want to set also some more space or gap between these elements, and I'm gonna go all the way to 40. And we are going to do the same thing with these elements here on this page. Set them to 40 as well. And also set the width of our heading, because as you can see, the heading just like goes across the page and it's not looking very nice. So let's go to advanced, go to start to width, and go custom and set it to 85. And this is of course up to you how you set this, and it depends. There are some rules in terms of design, but sometimes rules can be broken depending on what your text is breaking, where your text is breaking to make sense on the page. For example, we design and build top-notch websites. Imagine if, for example, we said we design and build top and then notch websites. It would look weird, and it would, when you read it in your head, would sound weird. But basically you would break the train of thought of your client, right? These are just some things that you pick up as you build more websites, as you learn from other people. So it's a continuous process. All right, so on the bottom of this page, I want to add something interesting. So when we scroll the page, this text moves left and right. And you have seen this in a previous video where I built it. And of course, this will be added to the playlist. So I will fast forward through this. I'm not gonna build it, but I will explain how I did some things in there. All right, so this is what I am talking about. Yeah, as you can see, we have here an icon list, and each icon list has an icon, obviously, and text. And this text is repeated a few times, but repeating this text depends, and it's very contingent on the size of your text. For example, if let's go to style and let's go to text, and if I go even bigger, as you can see, the text basically breaks on a second, okay, not in this case, but sometimes it breaks on a second line, and we don't want this. So let's see. So we want to revert back to the original. So keep that in mind. Always keep in mind flexibility. Always. No matter what. Yes, there are rules to follow, but like they say, the rules are meant to be broken, not the laws, the rules. So think a little bit outside of the box. And I keep saying this in some of my videos, or I want to say this in all my videos. Try to break away from the mold. Be different. Keep that in mind. All right, so this basically is part of the hero page as well. As you can see, okay, there's no movement right now because there's nothing. Let me just add some. Okay, you can see it in this preview in the editor. So whenever you scroll on the page, or you scroll the page, basically you have this text moving. So this is the name of our agency, our fictitious agency, and I think it's pretty cool. One thing I always try to keep in mind for myself, but also when I see designs or websites or things like that, please use white space. It doesn't have to be, or shouldn't be, literal white space. White space means space between elements. Obviously, group elements, for example, in this case, we have top padding here. We have 85 pixels padding. In this case, is enough because we are closer, because this part is part of the hero section. But if it wasn't, I would add a little bit more. So group elements on the same page, still leave white space in between elements, obviously, but keep in mind that to leave more white space between sections. So it's not like a salad of everything. Just keep that in mind. All right, the next element that we're gonna add on to this page. Okay, so you're wondering if I, for example, start optimizing for mobile bit by bit, section by section. I usually, to be honest, prefer to build the whole thing in desktop view and then start optimizing for mobile. That's just my process. I know some people just go straight in with mobile first. I would never in a million years do this in Elementor. Maybe if I started basically just coding pure code, but not even then. I just cannot. For me, it starts with desktop and it goes all the way down or up to mobile. That's it. That's my process. Okay, let's add another container in here, and this container is going to hold our other container. All right, so I am going to give this container a padding of 100, and maybe you're wondering why I'm using padding, and I will tell you why instead of margin. Because if I use margin, I cannot do a sticky footer. I mean, you would see the sticky footer sticking out basically. And I will give you an example once we reach that point, but that's why. All right, let's set the height of this container to be 30 VH, and I'm going to leave it boxed because I want it to be boxed. I'm gonna set the content center, and I am also going to add another container in here, and this container will have a full width and a height of 12 VH, not pixels. And I want this container to have a row horizontal, so basically elements sit next to each other on the page. Let's add a heading in here, and this heading is going to say "We won words." If you're wondering why I'm looking a little bit that way, I'm looking at my script, basically my design, so I know what is what, just so you know. All right, we set this to black. It's way too big, and what we're gonna do is go to typography and go choose our font Archivo and set REM, and I have it at 1.8, not semi-bold. It's going to be normal. All right, I'm gonna leave it like this for now. Obviously, as I said, I can clamp it, but I have to test to see how it looks on mobile and if I want it bigger or smaller. So next thing we are going to do to add in here is going to be an image carousel. So let's look for it. Image carousel. Drag it in here. Why is it like this? All right. Okay, and I am going to add 2 logos, and we have to wait for the media library to load because reasons. All right, so we are going to add this one and this one. These are our logos for our awards, the words that we won as an agency. And what I want to do is basically have no navigation. I don't want a navigation. Slides to show, basically 2. Let's go to additional options, turn on lazy load, and we are going to go and change the autoplay speed to 0 and add the animation speed 7000. And the reason for that is because we're going to be making this simply go round and round without stopping. Let me bring in the code. Also, the code that I'm going to be using in this video is going to be linked in the description below. So do not worry, I got your back. All right, it seems like our thing doesn't work, but it will work once you refresh and go and see in the preview. Not preview. All right, we still have some designing to do of this carousel. First of all, let's align vertical the images. We're going to set the spacing to custom, and let's go to 40. All right, let's set the border radius of 50. You don't see it because we don't have a background. Let's set the border type to solid, and we're going to say 1. And of course, let's give this a background color of Studio Orange. Et voila! Let's publish and let's have a look. My images, by the way, are SVGs, and yeah, you can have different images for different devices if you want. Of course, I cannot go into nitty-gritty in this video because it will take a long time, but just know that it's an option. All right, let's have a look. A sneaky look. Ah, it's starting to look good, more or less. Obviously, it looks so weird without a navbar. I know, I get it. This is not sitting right here. I don't like it. Okay, let's adjust this. What I want to do is basically give some space between these elements. All right. Also, I want to align the elements. As you can see, you can't really see, but I can, and I don't like it. Align the items in the center, and there's something that it's not right here. All right, let's give this container a little bit more space to breathe. Let's go all the way to 25. Probably it's good enough. No, it's not. All right, so the problem is that we need to give this image carousel container, we have to give it a width as well. 75 should be sweet spot. Yes. All right, let's publish and let's have a final look. This should be okay, but no. Yes. Really nice. Real nice. Okay, let's go back to our things. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool. I like it. All right. Okay, so this has been kind of like in between sections element, which kind of goes into a little bit into what's to come on the page. And what's to come is an intro of the team that is behind Studio Bright, right? So let's add a container in here, and I am going to give this container content with full width. Height is going to be 75 ph, and we are going to be adding a second container, but in the meantime, let's just set this right. So we want to justify the content center. We want the elements to be aligned to center, and we want to make sure that the background of this container is a color. As I said earlier, if we have a sticky element on the page, although we, for example, would give this Z index of 1 to 5, whatever, if its background, the background is transparent, you will see that element that is sticky. Make sense? Makes sense to me, at least. All right, I'm gonna give it the same background as basically our page. It's a light sand, you don't see it, but it's there, it's set. And that's about it for now. Let's add another container in here, and we are going to give this container the same height. Let's also set it to full width first of all, the same height of 75 ph, and we are going to give it a width of 90. And let's set the background first of all, background color. So the background color is going to be medium sand. And as I've said earlier, these are kind of the colors that we're playing with here. Darker sand, lighter sand, medium sand. Just trying to harmonize it because we have all these bright elements that are orange, so we need to somehow balance our design. What I want to do is give a border radius to this container, and it's going to be 30. So we're going to be using this value for all of our containers that have border radius, obviously, and we're gonna keep it consistent. The secret is consistency in design. No matter how boring or how complex it is, as long as you keep it consistent, then you're golden. All right, so as I said, I like to reuse elements that I have on the page, and in this scenario I'll be using this element. So I'll paste the heading here. Whoops, I forgot to set the layout. No, I didn't. But sometimes you still have to work it around. So we want the default align self, basically center. And I'm going to give it some space at the top. And that is going to be, this time it's going to be a margin, but it can be also padding. It doesn't really matter in this case. Okay, so now we're gonna add an element that we're gonna make a little bit crazy. and bear with me, it's gonna take some time. So we don't have this created as a component in other videos. Actually, I played with the widget, but not like this. So it's gonna be something to remember. Also, I forgot to, as you can see, the space between the top and the bottom of this container is not consistent. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump in the container here and I'm going to set this to 100 pixel top, and this is going to be 100 pixel bottom. And the space is set right now. Okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, it's looking good. So the widget that I was talking about is, I'm not sure if it's still experimental, but we're talking about the tabs, widget tabs. Because I've heard that they are kind of better or improved. I for one, to be honest, like it. I find that it's helpful and interesting, and basically just use your imagination and build the stuff, and build it as custom as possible or as simple as possible. So I'm going to be deleting the ones, the ones that they have set here. I'm just going to keep one, obviously. I don't think you can even delete it. And I am going to basically add in the names of the team members, of Studio Bright. And duplicate, and duplicate. And let's just say Matt. And the next one is Easy. All right, so let's go back to content. Let's stay here on the content page and let's set the direction of the tabs to be top and justify center. So we want them at the center. And now let's go to style and set the gap between tabs to be 32 and distance from content is going to be 25. And also let's set the gap between the elements in this container, and I am going to say 100. It sounds excessive, but trust me, when you look at it, it's not really. So yeah, okay, let's go and style our tabs because this is not looking nice. Okay, the color on normal is going to be orange. Oops, that is the text. No, not the tab. Yeah, tabs here. Okay, so background color is going to be orange or studio orange color. Whoa, that's ugly. Background active, it's going to not be green. It's going to be our off-white color. Okay, let's set the border radius to be 50 and padding is going to be top. What I want to do is, oopsies, no. It's gonna be 12, 50, 12, 50. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, let's go to our typography and switch the color to be black. Actually, no, it's going to be off-white on active. On normal, and on active is going to be black. Yes. All right, let's go to typography and obviously set our background, set our typography, our keyboard, and also switch our size to 1.3 rem, and we will leave it at 500 medium width. Okay, this is going to be very interesting, and bear with me because it's going to take a little bit of time. We're going to be adding 5 containers in here. No other widgets, just containers. And we're going to make this interesting. So in our first tab, we're going to be adding 5 containers, okay? Make sure that you set the wrap to wrap of the content. This is important because otherwise things will just not look good at all. All right. So I'm going to add a container in here, and bear with me. All right, this container is going to be full width, 20%. Okay, let's give it a background so we see what we're doing here on this page. We're going to go with dark sand, and we are also giving it a border radius of 30. Also, layout wise, we're going to give it a height of 26. I am going to add an image in here. Where are the images? And let's go to images. Gonna go with this one. I'm going to set the image to 100%, max width 100%, a height of 16 ph, border radius of 30, of course, and let's give some padding to the container that is in. Let's see how it looks. Yes, it's looking good. All right, let's align cell. Okay, so while you're in this container, make sure that you set the direction to be row vertical, because we are going to add something else in here, and that's going to be a heading. Oops, why? Okay, so this heading is going to be an H3, and it's going to sound something like, okay, let's set the color first, because my eyes are hurting. Font, I am going to say the weight, set the weight to 400 and the size to 1.1, and this will stay throughout our website, any size, at any size of the website. So this is going to say latest design work. So basically this image would be a picture of a mock-up or something that this person Jane has worked on last. Yeah, let's go back to our style, and let's go back to transform uppercase. What I will do is set the margin to be 5 top and about 10 left, not about, but 10. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to duplicate this. Of course, one mistake I made or kind of forgot is go in the tab and make sure that the tab is set to direction horizontal, because you want the elements to be sitting next to each other, unless you don't, so then it's fine. Okay, and also make sure that they're centered, and yeah, that's it. All right, so I am going to change this image to be the image of the person that we are talking about, and let's change this to be medium size. Style, it's going to be cover. Oh, by the way, did I say? Yeah, should be cover. All right, now let's play a little bit with this container. Let's design it. So this is going to be 25 width and 40 height. Don't worry, we're gonna fix it. And the image is going to have a height of 30. And let's call her Jane, plain Jane. Jane Wang. No, Jane Beanie. That's how you spell Beanie? I don't remember. Anyway, and let's duplicate this, and we're gonna switch it to a P and say design lead. Also, we need to change the font height, width, height, and everything. So this is going to be 0.9, I think. Yes. And we're gonna give it a margin top of -15. -15. Yes, she has a big head. Okay. Oh, right. Let's change the color of this container. We want it orange. Oops. Yeah, there's also something weird happening. I think maybe it's something to do with the tabs not working properly. I don't know. As you can see, whenever you change this, it doesn't work. Let's duplicate this. And I'm not gonna change it. Let's just design it. Let's just make it look good. 100 and who knows what it is. Whoops. And say these are lead. Oops. Oh god, it's not working again. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe there are some issues still with let's save it and have a preview. With the tabs, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, this is an issue. And let's have a look. A looky look. All right, trust me, this is not going to stay like this. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this because reasons. Just delete this. I know, my process is weird, right? I know. Delete this, and this is going to have a height of 8. Not 408, just 8. Thank you very much. Justify the content center, align self center, and as you can see, we have a different shape. All right, I don't want this. I want it to be more rounded, and that means we have to go all the way to 50. All right, so this, wait, let's change the color first. It's going to be black. Our text will be of white. Where are you? Of white, and I have a clamp prepared for it. Also, let's see something. We have some padding here that we need, margin that we have to remove. Margin top as well. That's the thing with reusing things on the page. You still have to delete some of the styling. Wow, that was hard. Okay, typography. So we are going to go and add our clamp. I have one prepared. So we have the font going from 1.1 rem down to 0.8 rem, the smallest. So yeah. Okay, let's duplicate this. I promise we're close. We're getting closer. Okay, and I'll duplicate this as well. Okay. So let's work first with this one. This one is going to basically stay the same. I'm just going to say something like obsessed with pixel perfect design. And we are going to give this a length of 38. Okay, and now to the last element. Let's delete this. We are going to remove, no, actually we're going to change the background from black to the color of our container, and it's going to be medium sand. You don't see it, but it's there, trust me. And we are going to go to add a global element, which is our CTA, get in touch. Yes, we still need to edit it to make it a little bit smaller. Let's go to typography and go all the way to 0.9. Let's also change our, not border radius, but padding. Let's say 15 top bottom, and we can change this to 40 and 40. Or even less. 40. Yeah. And you can also save this one as well as a global widget and just add the details for it, like smaller, CTA, orange, blah 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 blah, whatever, you know what I mean. Okay, let's first of all give a border because I don't see it to this, and we do want a border, so it's going to be not -1, and the color is going to be black. And what we are going to be adding in here is going to be basically this, but we're going to make it smaller, obviously. All right, so what I will do, I will copy this container and just drop it in here. And we need to change some things, obviously. All right, so I am going to remove the padding first of all. Whoops, why did I do that? Remove the padding. We will fix it, no worries. I will remove, first of all, the color. Actually, I will add a color. I will add the same color of, dark sand. No, of medium sand. We have to keep in mind the sticky situation. And remove some of the top margin, which is quite a lot. Maybe we will play around with it. Okay, so first of all, let's have a play with this. I'm gonna remove some of this, and I'm just going to keep 4. And obviously we have to change the font size because it's way too big. Let's say 1.5. Let's do the same thing on the other side. 4. Yeah, 1.5 here as well. Okay, it's kind of working. Okay, what we need to do is basically just remove this space, or just have a minimal gap between the elements. Yeah, also let's give some margin bottom here because we are running into no space. Right, so let's change the size of this container. It's going to be 26 or 25, whatever. And what I want to do is also give it a top of minus, yeah, I know, give it a top of minus 325 minus, and left is going to be 15. And this container is going to have a height of 100. Oh, margin top 100. All right, this is kind of like, what? All right, now let's go to this container. We will adjust them one by one and play around with the things. And then center, actually. Let's center it. This should be good. Let's see how it's looking. All right, it seems like we still need to do some work here. This one is not sitting in the right position. What's going on? Okay. If you know a better solution than this, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we can also move this further if we want. Let's see, how can we do that? Okay, I think let's go all the way 150, and then this one, maybe. It's all about a little bit of play around, you know? Let's just say that's okay. Maybe this one. Not easy building interesting stuff. It takes time, you know, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But I think in this case it's working out. Okay, this button is some work. All right, let's align this in the center, or no, let's keep it here and give some space on the left, about 50. So, yeah, this is how you build weird stuff. Okay, and now you're wondering, because obviously Elementor does not have this option. As you can see, you cannot just copy and paste the look, you cannot copy and paste the style of this tab to the next one. And I was agonizing, thinking that I will probably have to do this all over again, and I was losing my mind. But you don't have to. For example, just go to set the styles for your layout. So go in the tab 1, and make sure that you have the same settings in the second one. So let's go to the second one. So wrap, center. Let's see what else. that should be it, right? Okay, let's basically copy and paste this in here one by one, and let's see how things will work. Paste. Oh, by the way, yes, we have to set this row horizontal. Okay. This one, and not a biggie, right? Let's go with this. Copy. Paste. Yeah, because it's contingent on this being there as well. Just paste. Whoops. Yep, just a little bit of rearranging. Okay, let's just change this image. We're looking for our guy, and our guy's name is Matt. Done. Fictitious name, obviously. Matt Dunn. Okay, and he is a motion designer. Motion designer. Okay, so basically everything is the same. We will just change this thing here where he's showing off his latest project, and let's choose something cool as well. Wow. Okay, let's go with this one. Yeah, it goes with the theme, right? Okay, let's publish. Also here we have to change the text and say something about the designer. So I love pizza. And Matt says he loves, oops, I love movies. Whatever, you get it. Okay, let's update again. Let's go and have a preview, and voila. Yes, we need to adjust this, but let's switch to Matt. Right, we have to set the same styling, right, to the same to the other tab. So let's go back to chain, and let's see what do we have here. So the padding is 50 basically. Padding 50. If we don't have it, we set it, and I think that's it. Publish and have a look again. I think there's something else that I need to do, and that's no, actually there's nothing else. Okay, let's have a look. All right, our darling Jane and Matt, and as you can see, nothing else changes but their work. Obviously this would change. We can also say something else for Matt, and it would be so nice because they change but nothing else changes, if you know what I mean. Everything looks so good except for this, which is, I need to change that. So okay, in preview might look weird, but let's see. Okay, I think we can still go a little bit higher, although it might be okay. Anyway, Matt, you can see, yeah, that needs to change, but other than that, everything is so cool. I love it. Okay, now we can move on to the next section. So the next section, we want to add testimonials to this page, because it's a studio, right? We need testimonials. We need proof of work, social proof, not proof of work, social proof. So let's add that, and let's add a container, and this container is basically just going to hold our other container, and this will have a content with box, and we're going to set the height to 30, and column vertical, this is okay, and we are going to set everything center. I will set, since we have already white space here, I'm going to set the padding at the top, and let's add another container. And this container is going to have a direction horizontal. For now, we're going to set it to full width, and it's going to be 95%. Let's set the content justify space between and center, and of course align So center. All right, so let's add our 2 containers in here. Yes, might sound like there are many containers, but trust me, these are needed. Applicate. Okay, this container is going to be full width, just 30%, and this one is going to be about 42%, or let's just say, yeah, 42 for now, whatever, it's okay. And let's add a heading in here. I'm going to add a heading, and let me just bring in the text. This is just lorem ipsum, it doesn't really matter. I'll drop it in here. Whoopsie, this is horrendous. Okay, let me just set the HTML tag to a P. And style is going to be black. Ugh, this is horrendous. Let me bring in the clamp. I have calculated this already, so okay. Archivo. And set the weight to be 100. Also transform uppercase and line height 1.3 EMs. All right, I switched it to light because it looks much better. We're gonna add an icon, and this icon is going to be let's look for a user. I'm gonna go with this one. Obviously change the color to off-white, so we keep things on brand no matter what. So let's first go to content, and I'm gonna choose stacked, and I'm going to give it and let's go to style. Primary color is the background, and that's going to be black. Size 22, padding 20, and that's about it. It's looking pretty good, right? So we are going to add another container in here, and this is needed. Trust me, it's needed. So where are we? Let's set this to be horizontal, and let's bring it in the center, more or less. We actually want some, yeah, should be fine. Okay, for now. So I'm adding, I think I want the same. What I will do is just, I know it's crazy, but I'm gonna do it. Paste this here and just remove the whole text, but I want the styling, if it makes any sense. And just say hi client, and basically underneath duplicate this, and underneath we're gonna say under cool code, and this is going to be a smaller version, 0.8. Let's reduce the space between. All right, so let's have everything in the center, and then let's go in here and give some gap between the elements. Maybe 40, maybe. Yeah, it's looking really good. Okay, so this is done now, and we will be reusing it again because we're smart. All right, so in the spirit of reusing elements, I'll be reusing this container and basically redesign it, add different design elements to it. So let's copy it and let's drop it in here. And first of all, I want to change the color. This is very important right now for me. Okay, so it's orange, and we have to delete this, and we are going to change this to, basically this is the work section. We're gonna say explore our work, and as you can see, how cool, like we didn't do much, we just did what we needed to do. It saved us time, I wanted to say. And now I will be reusing another component that I made in another video. The video will be added to the playlist, so go and watch it. I will just copy and paste the elements and I will explain. Okay, this is looking weird, but let me bring in the code. So here is the code. All right, so the code has been copied, and as you can see, this kind of looks like boring. But if you hover over it, boom, baby. All right, let me bring in all the elements. And as you can see, there's something that is happening on this page that is happening on the hero section. As you can see, the corners of this container become rounded. And if you go all the way to the video is basically having this rounded corners on hover. Yeah, these are just little things that make a difference. Okay, it seems like this is a little bit whack. Let's just give some margin top. Margin top here as well. Whoops, not right. Pretty cool, I would say. And yes, there's smooth scrolling. I'm using Lenny's. I will have the code in the description below, but this is already set on the page. And yeah, I will link also a video in the description where I'm kind of implementing Lenny's, but it's not a big deal. All right, so a simple thing that we need to do is basically add another testimonial, yeah, to break the sections. So as you can see, we didn't have to do anything to this because we already had it. One thing I want to do though is basically switch the weight of the text to 400 here and here as well. That's it. 400. Yep. Let's publish. There's no reason to look at it again. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because basically we're gonna follow the same design sort of for sample of work, basically, I will copy this and paste it under the testimonial section. So I'm gonna go and copy this and just paste it here. And to be honest, this not only it saves you time, but it also keeps you it keeps your designs consistent. And honestly, I would also save these components as templates in Elementor. If you use Elementor Pro, you can do that and reuse them for other projects, on client projects, for example, where you can save so much time. Even though you, for example, have to delete some elements, you still have the basic structure and you don't have to go in and nitty-gritty set margins, heights, padding, and all that. So it does help, and yeah, you should keep that in mind. All right, I will change the color first of all. Let's change the color. Is this the correct one? Yeah. Let's change the color to basically the previous one, which is, was it dark sand? Medium sand. Okay, we have to change it to medium sand, not this one. Medium sand. Yeah, okay, let's change the heading. This is what we do, we say. This is what we do. We are keeping this design basically. We are just going to be removing the images. We don't want the images. And instead of the background turning black on hover, we are going to switch this to orange to give it a little bit of spice. And border on hover, none. So this is what happens. Pretty cool, right? Okay, yeah, let's copy and paste. Also, save time. Copy and paste styles so you don't go crazy. Studio orange, yes, okay, border, hover, none. And I'm going to save this, give this a margin bottom 150. Yep, it's looking pretty good. And if you're wondering how this will work, for example, when you hover over an element, as you can see, there's like the pointer finger. That means that this is clickable. So this basically would lead to something, right? Yes, the way this works is we are going to trigger pop-ups. We're going to trigger pop-ups for the work that we are doing here, and as well explaining our services as design, development, and the full package in pop-ups. And there's something else, we will have pop-ups anywhere that we need them. We don't want to have situations where we would need to be led to another page, because this is a one-pager. So the way we are doing this is like this. That's it. As simple as that. Okay, another thing that I want to add to this container is this. Add some, interest to the container. Let's paste it in here. Whoops, this is not bueno. Yeah, let's change the background to be the same color, medium. And we have a problem because we have padding on this container. We have this looking weird, and to be honest, I would like it to be from end to end if possible, but that's not possible, right? Because we have padding. So let's see how we can work that out. So if I remove the padding, this will happen. So in that case, we can add an extra 50 margin here and add 50 and 50 basically extra left and right on each of this. Let's see how it's looking. I guess that's the solution. Okay, and now this is fine, right? Okay, now the problem is that we have too much margin top. So let's kind of delete that and add some margin on this one. Margin, yeah. Yes. Huh? Okay, so let's make the text smaller. We might have to remove a few things here. Maybe, let's say 1 point, let's say 2. Let's say 2, and this is 2 as well. And I think we need to bring this in. And yeah, no, we have to add a little bit more, because we made the font smaller. We might even have to add even more, but we will see once we add some more elements on the page below. Content, let's do the same. Also, I will add another component that I have used in another video. I will add it here, and this is pretty cool, and you will see what I mean. Of course, that video will be linked in the description below, and this is what I am talking about. Where is it? This goody. Okay, let me just close this and bring it up. It needs to be after that container. Yeah, so let's see what's happening here. Top. Too much. And we need some top margin here. Unless that's too much. What do you think? There is something that I still like, but I don't know what. Maybe that's for the problem. Anyway, this, oh yeah, maybe, yes. Let's leave it at 100. It was much better. Need some room to breathe. Okay, so how fast was that? So you see, if you reuse components that you already have, how easy it is to build something once you have the design in mind and the flow and everything else. It's easy. All right, and I think we're ready now to start building our footer and our header. And then we're gonna start building a few pop-ups, maybe all of them. Let's see. And let's get this rolling. All right, so now we are going to be building our header and our footer. So for that, we have to go to templates here in our WordPress dashboard. We're gonna go to theme builder, and we are going to create a new header. I already have one, and I will follow the example of that one. So follow along. Okay, let's add a new header. You can name it whatever you want. All right, so let's skip all this and we're gonna build our own. Okay, so as you can see, header is called Elementor header, blah, 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 blah. If you want to change that, let's go to header settings and say nav, agency website. Okay, so we are going to be adding a container and you will see why. So we're gonna have basically two ways to access things on the website: a navigation, and we're gonna have an icon that will open a pop-up, and that pop-up will have different elements of like social media buttons. We're gonna have contact details and all that good stuff. And let's get into it. So we are going to set this container to be full width. Direction obviously is going to be row horizontal, because we want the elements in this container, the navbar and the icon, to be sitting next to each other. So we are going to give some space in between, and we are going to set everything at the end of this container. And let's go to our style. Let's go to advanced, and we're going to give some padding on top, and we're going to say 75, so there's some space on top of this container. Okay, so what we are going to be doing is set the position to fixed, because we want this navbar and icon, or the container itself basically, to be fixed on the page. And whenever we scroll the page, the website, basically our navbar and icon will stay put. So let's set it to fixed, and also align self, let's set it to end. Okay, and now we are basically ready to add our 2 elements, and the first one is going to be a container, but I will not be building this from scratch because I already have built this navbar before, and I will link in the description below this video that I am talking about, where I'm building a navbar inspired by the Words website. So I will bring that in, and I will explain everything that I did, and it's much easier this way. And actually, let's move this in here. Honestly, I don't understand why these things happen with Elementor. It's really frustrating, but yeah, we have to find solutions. All right, as you can see, our navbar is pretty done. Okay, one thing that we need to do to this navbar, let's set the container that this navbar is sitting in. Let's set it to 9999 set index. So that means that our navbar and the container will sit on top of all the elements that we have on the page. Okay, so I will be explaining how this was built a little bit, how things have been arranged so it sits like this in the container. Okay, so let's start with the layout. So our navbar is set to full width, and I set a fixed width of 700 pixels. So whenever the page changes size, basically, for example, you are going to watch or see this website on a smaller screen, basically the navbar will have the same length. It will not change, so that means that all the elements will stay contained in it. All right, so let's go again here. So this is the size that I have chosen. The width of the navbar depends on how many nav items you have. If you have less, you can go even lower, and it depends. For example, I have this button that has quite a lot of padding left and right, so it depends on a lot of things. Just keep that in mind, and that's it. All right, so the direction obviously has been set to horizontal direction because we want everything to be one next to each other, not under each other. And the content has been justified to center. Okay, so I set the margin to be 130. Let's see what happens. So basically our navbar will just sit very close to the edge, and to be honest, I don't like the look of that. Okay, so the way you align your navbar on the page is very contingent on how you structure your hero section, and in my case I wanted to align the navbar with the header and the button, so it looks put together and well thought and organized. Let's go to style, and as you can see, I have used one of the global colors that I have set, and that is the darkest sand color that I have chosen for this color scheme. And also obviously I have given it a border radius of 50, and this ties in with the buttons and everything that is rounded to this border radius on the page, and it gives a design continuity. So this container that you see here, the black container, contains and holds a container that has our site logo and the WordPress menu and a button. All right, let's go to the menu and I will explain a few things. In this case, I have chosen the pointer to be background, and that means that whenever you scroll on the page, each nav element gets a background like this button. So it would look like the button, but it's not a button per se, it's a link. So it's going to look really nice as you see this changing, and the background color is going to be be orange. As you can see here, let's go to pointer color is orange. And as you can see, I have disabled the mobile dropdown because I do not want to have the WordPress website on this navbar, although in the video that I have linked in the description below, I have that option. But in this case, we are going to be doing something else, and you will see. So stay with me. As for the button, it's just a button and nothing else. I have removed the text, obviously, and we don't want the text. I have added an icon, and I use this type of icon, basically these icons, I'm using them throughout the website. Again, keeping consistency in design and making sure that every element makes sense and ties into each other. And as for style, as you can see, the color is orange, and then we have the hover color, which is our light sand. So when you hover over it, this happens. And also this button, if you did not get it, what it means or what it does, basically this button is a get to top button. Normally you would have them somewhere. Let me just move my head. So normally you would have those buttons somewhere here, yeah, and once you reach the end of the page, then you click on that button and it takes you back to the top. And I was like, okay, let's make something cooler, something more interesting. And since the navbar is going to be fixed, then you will have it anywhere on the page. So if you are at the end of the page and you don't want to just scroll, because obviously this is a one pager and it's a little bit longer, then you just press this button and it takes you up. So I think it's pretty intuitive. I mean, you don't have to wonder too much to understand. And I think the icon indicates what this button does, and it's pretty intuitive. Maybe it's just me because I'm a designer, but hopefully users will understand as well. And if they don't, oh well. All right, so let me move my head back here. And I will also link another video that I have created where I made this kind of back to top button, and I'm explaining how it's done. But I can tell you right now that you need to add, first of all, an ID right here where it says link. And in order to do that, you just add the £, basically the hashtag, and the name of your ID. And you have to keep this in mind, because we will add it at the top of the website. Okay. So let's add our icon. So let me go and look for the icon. Do I have here? Yeah. So I'm going to add, this is really annoying. Really, this is one of the things that I hate. Okay, so if you click on the widget, it basically adds it for you, but still. All right, so I have my own icon. So I'm going to go and upload an icon, and it's this one, insert. And let's go to style and give it a size, and I'm gonna say 33. We don't want it too big or too small, and I think this is pretty perfect. And let's go to advanced, and let's set the margin right to 50, so we have some space on the side. And we don't want the margin of the left side of our navbar to match, and you will see why. Sometimes things need to match, but not always. Our icon will have, all right, so our icon will open a pop-up. So whenever you click on the icon, basically a pop-up will slide in, and you will have links to social media, contact details, email address, the name of the studio, logo, and on mobile we will have the menu as well. So that is going to be very helpful. All right, so I will go to dynamic tags, and I'm going to go all the way to actions, choose pop-up, go to action, and we want the pop-up to be opened, but we also want it to be closed from the same button icon. So we are going to choose toggle pop-up, and of course we have to look for our pop-up. So I think it's called social, yeah, agency social media links. And let me publish this. Okay, so let's set our condition. So in my case, because I have so many pages on this website, I'm going to be doing this. But if you have only one page, basically the web website, you just go and choose entire website, and that's it, and save and close. That's all the condition that you need. But in my case, I'm gonna go to singular. I'm gonna go choose pages and look for agency. Let's see, and it's number 2. As you can see, I have another one. So that's the text. Okay, save and close. And if we go back to our website, our navbar should be there. Okay, so this is how it's going to look. So this is what I have to change these things, but basically this is what happens when you click this icon. So we have to move this down. I have added a few things on the pop-up, and so the icon has moved at the top, but it was basically exactly in this spot. Anyway, so this is what happens. And on mobile, basically, we would have this a little bit down, smaller obviously, and then we would add our menu, our WordPress menu, and that's it. You don't need anything else. Since we already have the name of the studio, we have the logo, everything else is good. Okay, so let's go back to our website, and as you can see, our navbar and icon have been added. Let's have a look. I think we need to change a few things on the, we need to bring this down, but come on guys, how cool, right? Okay, let's test our back to top button. All right, it's not working because we have not connected, we have not done the thing that we talked about, like adding the ID on this page that is connected to the button. So we have to do that. Anyway, so let's test this thing here. As you can see, it's working pretty good, right? I know that some people don't like this, that you can scroll and see what is happening on the page. But to be honest, in this case, I kind of like it. I think it's very interesting, especially with the blurred effect as an overlay. So opinions will be always divided, right? Okay, let's go to edit with Elementor. I want to change the hero section, make some changes. Probably you remember we have added some padding to this header, and that was 130 pixels. Okay, let's go to the container, the container that is holding our hero section elements, and let's go to advanced, and I'm going to give this a margin top of 130. So as you can see, it is looking pretty good, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so now it's time to add our anchor on this page and connect back to top button. So I will bring in, okay, so we have an issue here. Since we have a container and this container is basically just sitting on top of everything on the page, we cannot access first part of our hero section, and we cannot add container. Yeah, so as you can see, that's a problem. So what I'm gonna do, I know is a little bit weird, but what I'm gonna do is duplicate this and simply delete everything that is in here. Just delete everything. Sometimes you just have to find solutions that are a bit questionable, but make your life easier, if it makes any sense. All right, so I'm gonna add the menu icon in here. And you can either use the menu anchor or use just the container to create basically this scroll to top button. To be honest, at this point I realized that we don't need the menu anchor to create this. We just have the container sitting there at the top. And let's give this container, first of all, 0 top. And I will also give this container a height of 0, because it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to have a height. So what we're gonna do is just add the CSS ID here that we used on our button, if you remember, and that's it. You don't have to use the pound sign or the hashtag sign. You don't have to do anything. So let's publish it and let's see if that works. Let's go all the way down, and it works. And as I said, the nav bar should have this option, or should show you that when you scroll, for example, this would be this is what we do, services. Okay, this would be highlighted this way, and when you scroll up, then you would get the section that says work, and it would be highlighted this way. But since we have not connected our sections to the navbar, this is not happening. But if you basically hover over, this background shows. Okay, I think this is pretty okay. We could even bring this a little bit more down if we like or want. But I think, to be honest, is okay. We have enough of white space. And although this white space here where we have the video is a little bit kind of, in a sense, disturbing, I think it's also refreshing, because as you can see, we have created an L-shaped hero section where we read first, obviously, the heading, then we see the button, and also because of the autoplay of this video, our attention is immediately drawn to the text under the video, and we can see what this studio does best. Okay, so let's play around with this margin here, the margin to top of the heading, and I'm going to say 150 pixels, and let's have a look. I think this time we are going to get something much better in terms of, yeah, this is better. I think it's looking good, right? We have plenty of white space. It is very airy, is pretty cool. The video, when it expands, it takes that white space and it fills the white space basically, and it's making it look really professional. And it's very easy. For example, it's still the L-shaped. We have an L-shaped hero section still, and we're reading our heading. We see a button, and then our attention is drawn to the video and the heading and the text underneath. And we can do this. And by the way, this also plays on mobile, just so you know. Okay, I think now it's time to move on to build our footer. So let's get to that. Okay, so we are going to be following the same steps that we did with the navbar, and we're going to go to templates, theme builder, and we are going to create a new footer. So again, you can name this footer whatever you want it to be, and I like to name my footers footer designs, footer templates, so I know where I am using them, and that's about it. All right, and let's call it footer agency website. Okay, so let's add a container in here, and I'm going to give this container content width of full width. Obviously, most of the time I use full width, but there are also exceptions. And let's give it a minimum height of 75 VH, direction horizontal, content center, and as well align self-center. And I will also give it some margin at the bottom because we don't want this container to sit right at the bottom where there's no and not have any space. And you will see what I mean. Okay, let's add another container in here. And is this something new that Elementor did, where you just click on the widget and it's added to the page? To be honest, I thought that you just have to drag and drop your widgets on the page, and I did it by mistake, and I was like, huh? All right, okay. Okay, so this container is going to be full width as well, and we are going to set this to be a width of 95%. So we have some space left and right, and it's going to be looking really, really cool. And I'm gonna set the minimum height to 45 VH. Now, of course, we have to set the elements to be aligned center, because everything we add here needs to be basically centered, not like left, right, blah, 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 blah. So it creates a weird dynamic. And we want to justify the contents start, basically. And I am also going to give this container a padding of 50 left and right. And let's go to style and give it some color. And I'm going to go with the base color of our branding, and it's going to be the Studio Orange color. Also, let's go to borders and set the borders to be 30. And as you can see, all our containers have the same border, and that matches our footer. So as I said, the design consistency is very important in anything that you do in terms of web design. Okay, so we are ready to add our elements in here. Okay, so at the top of the page, we are going to have the logo of our site. Now I will be reusing something that we did on the page on the website, and again this ties into consistency of design, and let me show you what I mean. So I want to use this, obviously without the image, but this as a button, call to action to send an email, drop us a line and stuff like that. So I think this will be pretty cool, and I will simply copy and paste this, and I am showing you exactly how I do things, and this is my process. And yes, it's probably a little bit unconventional, but this is how I do things. All right, so we definitely need to work this out. Remove the image, we don't want the image. Remove this, remove this. Basically, we are removing quite a lot of things. And let's go to remove our border. You might say that, oh, it would be so much easier to just start from the beginning instead of deleting things, but honestly this is what works for me, and it's probably not for everyone. Yeah, so what we want is to say, what am I doing? Drop us a line, and we actually need to add our CSS as well. So as I said, we need to add our CSS for this to basically work as the one on the page on the website. As you can see, it's looking pretty good, right? And oh, I made a mistake. Let me go back to the website, and let me just copy the text. And why I'm copying it instead of just adding it to the footer, whoops, is because I would have to go through the process of adding the styles to it, and I don't want to do that. So what I will do this and set the direction of the container to be vertical. So now this is underneath, and what I will add in here is an email address. Okay, let's go to the container and set width to be 55. We don't want it that big. This should do. Okay, so we have to remove something here. It's the margin top. Okay, it's looking much better now. Okay, let's add our social media icons, which are not really icons, and you will see what I mean. So let's add another container underneath this button, basically. Not there, not there. All right, here we are. Here we are. So I'm going to give this container a margin top of 150, and I will also give it some margin bottom 70. Okay, let's start adding things in here. First of all, let's set this to be full width, set everything to center, and the direction to be horizontal. Okay, so we are ready to add our first elements. And what I will do is I'm gonna add another container in here, and this container will contain our social media icons or buttons. And I will drop a button here, and this is the button that I am talking about. So I do not want to use the widget that Elementor has because it's not really that nice. So to be honest, or very customizable, it's very limited. And so I prefer to use this. And this is how I want my buttons to look. So I will duplicate this and duplicate. Let's go back to our container. Let's see, this is the container. Let's set a row horizontal, center, and center. And now we are ready to add our text left and right, and that is going to say built in Berlin, for example. So let's go to add in a heading. Where is it? All right, so this is not really centered basically at all. And since we don't have these two headings sitting, or whatever, yeah, heading elements sitting in containers, we have to basically give them equal width. Otherwise, we will have a problem here. And let's bring them like that. And now it's everything centered. Yes. Okay. One thing that I want to do here is bring everything to the center because it's going to look much nicer. Yeah. Okay, so let's change the text here to say Instagram. And this one will say LinkedIn. Oh my god. Okay, look at this. Oh, I think it's cool. Okay, we are ready to publish it. Now we have to add a condition. As with the navbar, you can add it to the entire site and just save and close, but in my case, I will go to singular and basically follow the same steps I did with the navbar and say agency website 2. Save and close. And now if we go back to our agency website page, let's refresh this and let's see what is happening here, if our footer has been added. And it has, and it's cool, right? Okay, there are so many little details now that we have to work on, and yes, the mobile version is super important, but to be honest, I'm not gonna cover it in this video because it's so big. Maybe I will make a separate video at some point where I'll like do a follow-up of this, but it's so much and I think you're gonna get bored really soon. The thing that actually helps a lot is clamping your text, and that will basically help you once you reach the other devices where you don't have to adjust it for that device. So you're done with the text. You would have to just focus on the other elements that you have on the page, like images and other things, although you could use clamp for that, but maybe it's a little bit too advanced. I honestly don't use it. I just use it for text for now. As you can see, as you scroll, everything comes into view very slowly. And as you can see, our containers have some animation. I have used grow and shrink GSAP, and I will link the video that I am building that in the description below. And I have kind of like made it work for my website here. And each container basically has this effect. And obviously I have added the same effect that I have added here. I have added it here. Again, trying to keep the design continuity flowing, the most important part. And as you can see, our footer has a reveal because it's fixed. And basically, it's like the page is a curtain and goes up and reveals our footer. And I think it's pretty elegant. And if you see here, our page is getting radius as we scroll. And this is made with G-Step as well. It's not difficult to make. I will also link the code to this in the description below. Let's try this. For example, I want to explore the work of this studio. And I am going to click on this and see what they have to show to us. And oh, this is pretty cool. So this is the case study for the coffee roastery. Obviously, this is completely different, just some images that I had on this website. But yeah, you can add whatever you want to add and have your buttons, have everything that you want. And then let's have a look at what they do in terms of design. And basically it goes into the same design style. And as you can see, as you scroll the page, our pointer background is starting to appear because we have connected, because I have connected the sections to the Navbar. So let's keep going. Work, services, and there's no contact because we don't have a contact form right on this page, but we do have one. So if you want to contact them, you just click on it and then you have this beautiful, my opinion, contact form, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so let's go to work, let's go to services, let's go back, and everything is working as it should. And if you want to see how I connected these nav items to each section, I will also link a video that I've made showing how to do that. And so all the videos that I have mentioned throughout this video will be added to a playlist, or I will have just links to each of one of them in the description below. So make sure that you keep that in mind before you send me a message. All right, I hope you like this. I know that there was so much more for me to explain, but this was, I would call it quick, not really quick for me in terms of making the video, the design, the implementation of things. It took some time, but we kind of did it. So if you want to see a mobile version of this website, I can make a follow-up video another time. But until then, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see what else you can build with Elementor, watch this playlist here. And if you have gotten any value out of this video, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing this video, and I'll see you next time.